Hello, my good people. How's everybody doing today? And no, your TV, your computer is not fucking up. My light at my closet ran out, so I'm gonna try this blue light and stuff like that. So, yeah, just to put that out there. So the album I'm about to do tonight is something you probably will not expect, but it is what it is. The Rolling Stones album, the Beggars Banquet. I forgot the number of the album. Give me 1 second. Seventh. That's the 7th British album and their 9th American album. Released in 1968 on Decca and London Records. Producers include Mr. Jim Miller himself, and this is like the first time he worked with them. The first time he worked with them, because I'm definitely going to talk about their classic period all the way. We're going to talk about the classic period, and I'm going to talk about Goat's Head Soup. So, yeah. I've been meaning to do this much earlier, but shit happened, so you know how we do it. Singles I was known for only came out with 2 official singles, which are Street Fighting Man, No Expectations, and if you want to be technical, Symphony for a Devil, but that was not really a single, but it was like it was controversial, but I'm gonna get more into that later on in the video. And before I start, here you go right there, Mr. Jermaine himself. Say hey to the people and shit. Yeah, I had to do that because I'm petty as fuck sometimes. But other than that, so if you guys don't know who the Rolling Stones are, check out my the Tattoo You video. That was like a Wait, did I review Sticky Fingers? No, I did. Okay, yeah, I think that was the only Rolling Stones album I reviewed. Surprising. Okay. So, I'm going to take it to 1967. So, by 1967, the Rolling Stones were in a weird kind of period, though. They had dropped the infamous Their Satanic Majesty's Request, which, if you guys listen to that album, it was basically them trying to do what the Beatles done with Sgt. Pepper, to be technical and shit. And so, not a lot of critics and fans like that album that much because the Rolling Stones were just about blues, like the blues rock. And I think beginning with Aftermath, they were kind of experimenting more with like psychedelica and Baroque pop and like Indian music and shit. Kind of sounds familiar, right? Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so anyway, where was I? Yeah, so it sounded familiar, you know. A lot of critics and fans did not like that album. So Rolling Stones, they wanted to just change their image. They wanted just an album that just brought them back to their roots, as I should say. And also, fast forward to that same year, they had dropped the single "Jumpin' Jack Flash," which was a very one of a fan favorite to this day. One of my favorite Rolling Stones songs ever. Like, it was just what you would expect, like one of the most famous songs ever and shit like that. Like, very dope album, hard hitting and shit like that. So, fast forward to 1968, they begun to work on this album and stuff like that. And from what I looked up about this album, they had fired their longtime manager Andrew Loog Oldham, and they hired Alan Klein as their manager. And so he wanted them to like more driving rock and roll, and just more blues and powerful sound and shit like that. And so that's how this whole album could have. Oh, excuse me. This album could have been released earlier than when expected, but there was some controversy. And controversy had to involve the title. Now, the title I showed you was the original title of the album, and it just features them. It features like the graffiti in the toilet and stuff like that. And so the record company, they didn't like that. And it was kind of like, what was so controversial about it? I mean, is it because it's a toilet? I mean, whatever. So that's when they had to do this cover right here. Kind of boring. I wouldn't expect something that you would not expect from Rolling Stones, but fuck it. So yeah. And also, this was actually the final album that they have done with Brian Jones, the leader of the Rolling Stones, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, because you guys should know that he died the next, I think, 69, he died in 69, and because he got kicked out the group. So, yeah. Alright. Let me see if I'm missing anything. No, I think I talked about everything I had to talk about. Yeah, okay. So, 10 songs. You guys know what I'm about to do. Track number 1, Symphony for the Devil. Okay. This is, if you ask many people, they can say that this is like their best song. People can call it their worst song. So, basically, he got, according to Mick Jagger, from what I looked up, the influence for this song came, after he was reading this novel about, it's called The Master and the Margarita. And it just talked about religion and things of that nature. It's talk about religion and human mankind. And so he kind of made that up into, like, he pictured himself as a devil and things of that nature. And he's talking about the flaws of mankind, yet at the same time, he's actually talking about, like, relationship too and things of that nature. Very controversial song at the time, because you never really heard, in 1968, you never heard people talking about the devil, like devil worshiping at that time and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, they caught like a lot of flack for some of the lyrics. Vocally, I have to say this is probably one of Mick Jagger's best vocal performances and shit like that. And nice way to start off the whole album. Very good song. Track number 2, No Expectations. Yeah, another dope, pretty solid song right there. This is actually one of the last contributions by Brian Jones, because he played the acoustic slide guitar and stuff like that. So I thought the song was pretty solid and shit, It's like a slow ballad talking about loneliness, Then next song is Dear Doctor. Very, very cool song. It's a country song, but it's very funny at the same time. Because the song tells a story about this fiance, this guy, he was about to marry his girl and shit like that. But at the same time, his fiance like stood him up, the day they were about to be married. So I've never gone through anything like that, but at the same time, it's not like a sad song. They just kind of got it kind of funny and shit. So very cool song. Not a country fan like that, but yeah. And some of these lyrics, he said, it read, "Darling, I'm sorry to hurt you, but I have no courage to speak to your face. But I'm down in Virginia with your cousin Lou. There'll be no wedding today." Just to see if we can send some of the lyrics. Excuse me. Okay. Then we got Parachute Women. That is the fourth song off the track. Who played on it? So both Brian Jones and Mick Jagger actually played harmonica on that song too. And so this is like one of my favorite songs off this album because it's just that bluesy. This is that bluesy, I don't give a fuck Rolling Stones I like and shit like that. And Parachute Woman is supposed to be like a sexual innuendo. And guys, if you guys want to know more about that, look it up. Look it up and shit like that. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Very underrated song, too, because you never really hear that many people talk about Parachute Woman. And besides, like, they only performed this song, like, twice in their whole life, in their whole thing, so. Then we got Jigsaw Puzzle. Jigsaw Puzzle is just talking about, how singer's aware of his surroundings, how he sees all these weird people in his surroundings and shit. So very, very cool song and stuff like that. One of the best instrumentations they've ever done. Jagger was on acoustic guitar, Keith Richards electric guitar and things of that nature. But then they had Nicky Hopkins on piano and stuff, I like that fact they added a piano. Gave it like a very more bluesy side, bluesy Delta blues sound, Track number 6, Street Fighting Man. Again, another dope Rolling Stones song. Probably one of the most political songs to date. And from what I've read up, he actually wrote this song, Mick Jagger, after attending an anti-war rally at the London U.S. Embassy. And there was like, a lot of like police brutality and things of that nature. And so rioting and all that. So he just wrote Street Fighting Man. Very cool song right there. Very dope song. This was really the song that really got them back and shit like that, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Prodigal Son is the next one. That song was pretty cool. It's based on the Bible, basically. Based on the Bible. Because you guys know the story of, if you guys are Christian, you guys should know the story of that. The prodigal son, he wanted to find a life on his own, but he found out that it was not what it was meant to be, so he came back and shit like that. So, yeah. Next song is Stray Cat Blues. Stray Cat Blues, wow. It's talking, put it bluntly, it's talking about lust. That's just the best way. It's just talking about lust. And in case you guys are wondering why, yes, the intros to that song and Heroin by the Velvet Underground do sound similar, because from what I've read about this, Mick Jagger was very influenced by Velvet Underground. So that's why they had that more darker sound, you know what I'm saying? So very cool song. And the reason why it's Stray Cat Blues It's talking about like this guy. He sees this like groupie, but she's 15 years old, and so he's just lusting after her and shit like that, you know. So, cool story for shit like that. Bill Wyman, in my opinion, he stole the whole show off that fucking song and shit like that. He played the wait, was it Bill Wyman? Yeah. Give me one. I'm sorry. Give me one. I think I'm. Yeah. I was meaning to say his bass guitar. I liked his bass playing on that song too. So, yeah. Factory Girl is the next song. That song is talking. It's like a folk song, and it's talking about like a singer's relationship with a young woman and stuff like that. And you know what? I'm not really a huge fan of that song, to be real with you. So, yeah, not really a huge fan of that one. The last song is "Salt Off the Earth," and that was like a Keith Richards led song, and it was basically just a salute to like the working class and things like that. Just saying like keep your head up and everything like that. Okay. And I don't know what the term "salt of the earth" means. If you guys know exactly what that means, put it under the comments and shit. Cause yeah. And that's all the time I have off this album. Overall, I feel like this album is definitely one of their best albums. But But it's one of the best albums, but it's not like an album I myself would just go straight to when I want to listen to Rolling Stones. And it's kind of saying that, I'm not saying that this album is bad, never saying that, but it's just that this album is just very good. Like, a lot was going on by the time this album, a lot was going on. You had like Brian Jones' drug addiction, the whole new managers, and so on and so on. So this album had like a sound combined like folk and country, soul, and everything like that. And with this album, you saw the more dominant factor that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards both had and shit. Now, don't get me wrong. Brian Jones, he made the group and stuff like that. He made the group, and the way they did him was fucked up and shit like that, but it is what it is. I mean, yeah. So yeah, Beggars Banquet. Get the album in stores and everything. Classic album. And that's all the time I have. Stay tuned for more. Peace.